Hey guys, welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner, and I have a very exciting episode for you guys today. We're going to dive into a lot of interesting things with a guest of mine named Drew Thompson. He is someone I've recently met, and he has so many cool insights. We just got done talking about all these different things going on with the future of AI, what this is doing to us personally, and how all these things are going. There's a $0 framework he talks about there of how to get started as cheaply and as efficiently as possible with AI. It's very, very useful, very exciting, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Drew, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
What's up, Dan? Thanks for having me, brother.
It's good to meet you. Good to meet you, man.
Likewise.
So, yeah, I know it's. I kind of gave you a little bit of edification in the intro, but I guess in your own words, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Cool, man. So my name is Drew Thompson. I run Signal and Scale. We are an AI transition enablement firm. What does that mean? That means that in the next few years, in the next 24, 48 months, you're going to start to see more agentic AI becoming displacing. I think that's the way to say it. Meaning it's going to displace a lot of the workforce, white collar working, sales professions that you would usually use your brain to manage a friction point. Those are going to be taken away by AI. So our job is to teach people not only how to think AI first, but how to reinvent themselves in this new age where AI is prevalent. How do you become a director versus an operator? How do you log in at 9 o'clock in the morning? I got 5 screens here. Each screen runs a different large language model. And then how do you know, where does my knowledge stop? Where does AI begin? How do I work with an AI so that I can work faster? Now, my background, Dan, is dramatically different than most people. It's a not linear path to get there, but we can dive into that as well. That's what I do in a nutshell.
I mean, has anyone in this space ever had a linear trajectory? I mean, honestly, I think we're all kind of like that anyway. But no, that's awesome, man. So let me get your opinion on this right out of the gate. Um, Based on what you kind of said with that right there, I would classify you as more in the camp of AI is going to take over and displace a lot of things and change a lot of things. I don't want to categorize you as a catastrophist, like AI is going to come for us and kill us all. But it sounds like you're more in that camp that it's going to be more disruptive than, I guess, someone like me. I 6 months ago, I was definitely like, the world is not going to be taken over by AI. I'm starting to get a little bit more on board with these things, and as I see more, and as maybe a little bit slow to the party, but I'm very analytical when it comes to that kind of stuff. But would that be a fair assessment that you're definitely in that camp of AI is going to be a lot more disruptive than people think it will be?
When I look at the things that have been the most disruptive, right? TV when radio was around, the internet when people were like, "What am I doing? I'm sending an email. Why wouldn't I just send a piece of mail?" A lot of people underestimated the impact of technology. Now, TV and the internet, those things took 6, 12 to 4 years to reach mass adoption. We are on an exponential curve that this technology gets better every single minute of every single day. I have a real example here. I was talking to Claude, which is Anthropic's large language model. And the other day it said, carte blanche, Dan, no lie. You do a great job, Drew, thinking with me and thinking through things with me, but I think you can let me do some of your work. I said, what? Because just let me do that for you. Okay. You go back to talking to clients, be present. I came back like 2 hours later. It had written an outline for a keynote that I give, and I'm usually very hands-on with those things. I don't want to give them away. And it was 99.9% perfect. Now it just took me to deliver it. That's a microcosm of what's happening. Now, do I think the claw bots or the moat bots? I think that's all just a bunch of hogwash, and here's why. If you don't know what Clawbot is, or Moltbot, or OpenClaw, it's the idea of a completely agentic AI that just does things for you. And you've seen these, right, Dan? You've seen the posts on social. I set up 5 Mac Minis, and they're all running OpenClaw. Yeah, here's the thing no one talks about. You see those things, OpenClaw, they all run off of Claude. So anytime it has to do an API pull on Claude for anything, that costs money. I read somewhere, that someone said, "Hey, I ran up a bill of $7,500 in a couple minutes using OpenClaw." So just
$7,500 in a couple of
a couple
minutes?
minutes, just with all of the pulls that it's pulling
Oof.
from the AI. So if that's true,
Damn.
then everyone is just then all of this is just, I think, blown out of proportion. Does that mean I think the technology doesn't exist? No, 100% it does. It's agentic. Do I think OpenClaw just became something that we could, like media hype around? Yes, I do.
So that's interesting. Let me skip around a little bit because I
Yeah.
had I had a different question I wanted to ask, but since you brought up that $7,500 story, that's a very very compelling thing because you have this thing that's you call this $0 framework, which I want to kind of get your thoughts on and dive into. Now, before I do that, I'm also I've never gotten a $7,500 bill. I haven't dove into that specifically for that reason. Um, but I am noticing I'm probably going to do an episode like after this about kind of my transition with vibe coding and how all of this has gone because I've been in the software world. I have been going all in with Claude Code, really learning it, really diving into it, and it is blowing my damn mind
So good, dude.
at how much faster I can produce stuff and how much better I can produce stuff. It's absolutely mind blowing. So you guys can check out that episode. Probably be the one after this episode, and maybe later this week or early next week, um, where I'm just going to go through me diving through that. But I'm also noticing at the same time that I'm spending a lot more money because I'm using these tools and I'm having to subscribe and it's a tokenized economy, right? It's all about, hey, if you got $100 put into this, you can get some pretty good results, but people want to use those 5 free prompts a day with Lovable and like all the different stuff, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so you have this $0 framework, which is intriguing. Like if you're getting started in this, you don't want to drop that $7,500. You don't want to like get stuck with this bill. Like what is that $0 framework and how can we employ that?
So the whole idea behind it, Dan, is that zero is relatively speaking, okay. You're still going to pay $20 a month for ChatGPT, or 100 for Claude, or $20 for Claude. Never pay any money for Microsoft Copilot, no matter what. If you have it right now and you're listening, do me a favor. Number one, take the Android phone that you have and just throw it away. Get an iPhone. Number two, Microsoft could screw up anything. And actually, Microsoft has come out and said recently that they're going to start building their own large language model. So you got to ask yourself, do you want to be a part of using Copilot as it transitions into its new AI home? I'm going to say no.
Hmm,
But the
interesting.
idea behind, Dan, hold on. Do you use Copilot, bro?
I do not. I
Okay, good.
tried it a couple of times and I was like, this is dumb. I just I've used ChatGPT forever and now I'm transitioning to Claude because I've just seen how much better it is.
Game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you use Copilot, that's fine. I think run go to Chatbot Arena, right? Where you can run different large language models against each other and kind of see which one gives you a better output. You're just going to get better. But if it fits into your workflow, everything is on SharePoint, your companies, or the whole org is Microsoft, is a slightly different story, right? The pipes are connected. The idea behind the $0 framework is simple. The idea is that you don't have to hire anybody. You don't have to bring any resources on to help you do things, to help you make content, to help you be better on sales calls, to help you find more leads. You see, you can use all these tools and you can daisy chain them together in a variety of different ways that allow you to just be present with your client, to be present every day. I just finished a keynote earlier this morning about thinking through and thinking with the machine. And if I can just think through the machine, meaning it analyzes my fears, frustrations, my wants, my aspirations, well, then I've cleared out all this mental garbage that we carry, which allows me to be more present. If I think with the machine, it means I take a problem that looks so black and white to me. There may be like 4 other ways I could solve it that could get more efficiency, that could get more humanity out of the output. And all this comes at a $0 cost. Yeah, the $20 a month is negligible compared to hiring somebody for 140 grand a year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's actually interesting. It makes me think of a story. I don't have it off the top of my head where it was from. Um, but it was the demographic of like 18 to 25-year-olds is actually using chat GPT more for personal prompting and personal things than work related things. Like it was almost like, if you remember, like when like all traffic is desktop and then mobile kind of like overtook it as like the most of web traffic. It's kind of the same thing. It was like work related, and then all of a sudden like it was personal related more than work related prompts. Like, so you know what I'm saying? Like we're using this more for like, man, I'm like really confused as to what to do with my friend right now. And like, can you give me isn't that kind of a weird, but it's like you said, it's a way to dump that out and actually get in like a response just like that, you know?
Dude, have you read, I don't know the name of it. I think I have it in another window here. I just wrote about it on my Substack, but it's the global crisis article. Did you read this?
No.
Dude, I gotta
No.
send you it. So, let me
Okay.
see. I sent it to my buddy at a hedge fund. It's called the 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis, and, I'll put it in the chat here so you have it.
Interesting.
So good, and the idea is it's a doomsday, right? It's a doomsday scenario.
Mhm.
It's in the chat for you, but the idea behind it is agentic AI reduces hiring, takes away white collar jobs. When it takes away the white collar jobs, the white collar employees, lawyers, auditors, etc., have enough money to live off of, but they eventually run out of money and they can't retrain into another role because AI already takes that entry level role. And so then it's the societal collapse, right? These people who made 200,000 a year now make a fraction of that. So their mortgages go in default. Well, then all these mortgages that were not subprime, they were prime mortgages. Why aren't they paying? So this whole article, I highly recommend it.
Interesting.
Not from a doomsday scenario, but dude, here's what's so cool. I wrote about this on my Substack too because it's just so great. I took this and I put it into Claude, and I said, "Hey, first off, you're going to build me this prompt. I want you to be like a macro economic analyst. I want you to read this article. I want you to call bullshit where you see bullshit. I also then want you to analyze this for what are the 14 biggest arbitrage opportunities that will come up should this reality happen. And I want you to tell me, analyze my career. Where am I best positioned inside these arbitrage opportunities so that in 5 years, as things change, I'm in the best position for my family." Like that's what people aren't doing. That's how you think through a machine.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, man, but that gets me excited just to think about that.
No, it does. And I've yeah, I think that's what separates, like you said, I like the phrasing you have there of thinking through a machine, because that's really what, when I first started diving into ChatGPT, I found like, okay, you can really like it's garbage in, garbage out kind of thing, but it's also like there's a whole different degree of how cleanly you can think and input into something as to how that's going to respond to you, you know? But that kind of leads me to my next question. I'm definitely going to read that article. That's very interesting. And we could talk a whole day about that topic. But one thing I want to get your thoughts on, is you were kind of going through this before. If you guys have listened to I believe it's either the last episode or 2 episodes ago, I talked about this 996 culture, and it was very interesting. Have you heard of this, Drew?
I've not.
So there's actually a company called 996, and it's this culture that has been born where they work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Hence the 996 culture. And just to go back, you can listen to my show on it. Like I did a whole breakdown of kind of like what my thoughts are on this. But the whole idea is that everything's moving so fast, technology's booming, like, and the reason, and it's upside down, because you would, like what you're saying, AI should be able to automate it, should be able to allow us to go back to the more creative things, to the higher leverage things, and not have to have us work all the time. But these people are feeling like there's always something to do, always something to catch up on. And if you're not always plugged into this, you're going to miss out. Like you're going to miss the boat when the next big thing drops, right? So I think it's big in China right now, and then it's kind of
Mhm.
working its way into Silicon Valley and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I'm interested. What are your thoughts on? It sounds like you're brand new to this term as well. So I'm kind of interested to hear what you have to say about that, like fresh and off the bat. But like, what do you think about that? Because like I feel this too, as someone that, I run like a small agency, and I do feel like, even though Claude Code is really helping me get so much better with everything I'm doing. And I was looking before I got here, I'm like, damn, like I've produced a shitload of cool stuff in the past month, like unbelievable. But I also feel exhausted. Like I feel like, damn, dude, like I could just work all day and I feel like I'd always have more to do, you know? I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on all that?
First off, I've heard that many a time, right? Paul Reitzer and those guys say that it's a known thing that now that we have AI, we can get more done. So I want to do more. Like, I go to bed last night. I'm like, hold on for a sec. I just want to see about
Your
this
brain's
finance.
always
I
going.
mean, let me just go into Claude real quick. Oh, wow. I'm just going to go downstairs. I'll be right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because I enjoy it. This 996 culture, dude, I can't believe you pulled me onto this because I'm going to start talking about this. I say on stage across the country, and I say all the time, hustling is the laziest thing you can do. And this is hustling. I
Hustling
think
is the laziest thing you can do. Okay, explain that.
when we hustle, it's like we get on the hamster wheel and we say, how much faster can I run this hamster wheel? Because we start getting in a mindset of output and we think, if I run this hamster wheel fast enough, it's going to come off the hinges and then I get free of the hamster wheel. And all you end up doing is running a hamster wheel more and more and more just for your little treat of the 2 to 3% increase in your salary or the tiny bonus that's just pennies that say, hey, we appreciate you. Now go back to running. Or you start actually running a business and you think I can just grind harder. Your family falls apart. Your health falls apart. You ever hear the four burners theory, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
Four burners theory. It says, imagine a stove with four burners on it. Okay. Family, each burner has a name: family, career, health, friends. You turn all four burners on, but then someone comes in from the gas company and says, you can only run two of these burners at one time without it all burning out. So you can run family and health, but then career and friends are gone. You can run family and career, but
Makes
then
sense.
health and friends are gone. I mean, look at this in the macro, right? We have people like Elon Musk. They've run career and friends. Marriages disappear, healthy roads. You choose what you want right there. I believe this 996 culture is saying that same thing. You work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if I had an employee and they said to me, Drew, I'm going to work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for you, I'm be like, well, then you clearly don't know how to use AI. You clearly are not thinking through a machine or with a machine, because even the machine would tell you that is not a good idea for your health. Now, mind you, I would venture a bet that I could have a team of four that work a 4-day week and get
Hmm.
the same output, but with a better quality of life than this 996. So when I
Yeah.
think about hustling being lazy, hustling is just motion. Here's the real hustling. I thought about this yesterday. I had a conversation with a good friend. What if hustling meant you actually have to deal with the shit inside your head? You actually have to navigate through the cognitive distortions that you have every single day. Why didn't I get the job? Why didn't I get that client? Am I not good enough? Do I matter? And now, what if you used a machine to help you think through that? So that at the end of the day, that's hustling. Because that's so much harder than just running on a track, is actually looking in a mirror and saying, why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? Because once I figure that out, now I can get more output because I'm present. And a machine just is the thing that helps you be the center.
Yeah, I remember preaching that a lot when I first started this podcast. It was about a whole bunch of other things. It was a lot more personal development focused, and it is. It's the most upside down thinking, um, especially in this day and age, even more relevant is that slowing down helps you speed up because it's not. People are like, ugh, are you sure about that? But I will say this. My other thought as you were explaining that, like I think about, and maybe this is a cultural thing, but I think about like how we've kind of romanticized, like everyone romanticized the story of Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs, right? Like there was they didn't do it all the time, maybe, but there was a time and a season where those guys were just like grind it. Like it was a limited time, right? It wasn't a forever thing. Like you said, the burners, you could kind of play with those burners as you want to. Um, but for me, I don't know. Like there are times when, we have our first child coming here in the summer, so like things are going to change quite a
Congrats.
bit.
Yeah.
But I also know that I'm in this window now where I'm like, okay, before that happens, I know that if I can push a little bit harder, I can do these things. Like I know there's an end date to that. I'm okay with that. Like I'm personally content with that. But I've worked through that, like you said, in that mind junk in my head of like, okay, I know that I'm setting things up and learning this stuff so that when October comes and July comes and the baby's here, and then October comes and we're back to like, she's back to work, all this stuff. Um, it's gonna be a lot different of a world that we're living in the Hafner household here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So um, then it's like, okay, now I've set things up to let AI help me do this stuff and do this stuff. But if that means I gotta work a little bit extra longer, I gotta work a Saturday here and there, like me personally, I'm okay with that. Um, I don't know. That was just kind of one thought that I had as you were explaining that of like, yeah, I don't want to do 996 forever. Like, no way. Like, screw that. That doesn't sound fun at all. But is it, like my wife's studying for her boards right now, and she's studying on a Saturday, and I'm like, I'll work with you on Saturday
Yeah,
too.
I
Like,
mean, dude,
we got
it's
nothing
like the
else to do,
levers, right? It goes up and down. Do I believe that you have to sacrifice everything all the time? No. But do I believe you need to sacrifice to get somewhere you want? Sure. I just don't agree with an entire culture of 996, 6 days a week. Like, but that means your seventh day is just sleep and recover, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad I brought that up to you because I'm excited if you say you start talking about it. I'm interested to hear what more of your thoughts like on that
Yeah,
and
dude,
kind
I
of how
can't
you
wait.
can.
I bet you, I want to see how many people have heard of this before. I'm just Googling it, man, and there's just a lot of stuff about it.
I mean, I'm looking at the I was looking at the analytics of the show here, and we had a lot of listens for that one. So that one, I think that touched a nerve. So maybe we'll get I'll put some of that in the SEO for this episode because
Dude,
I
you know
think
what would
more people need
happen?
to learn about that.
What if we ran this through Claude, right? Mental health is a big thing, these tools. I mean, the mental health market for AI is over $11.8 billion dollars is what it says they're going to reach. So then what does it think about the 996 culture?
When you say the mental health market for AI, what does that encompass? What
Like
is that?
there's an app called WISA, WISA,
Okay.
right? They've got a valuation of 500 million. They have hundreds of millions of conversations a day just around mental health.
Okay.
So these tools are used for mental health. And it's startup culture we're talking about, and it's changed to this 996 is what they're adapting. I'm wondering, what do these AI tools say about it? Like, really, like having an AI tool look at this and look at it from an efficiency, an HR, a cognitive, psychological standpoint, from a health standpoint. You're working your people down to the bone. Where's the increased output? Is it that much of an increase of output? Whether if I scale down to a 442 culture, right? Does the output go up because more people are able to do more and think
Yeah.
more and be healthier?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've been noticing, my wife and I, we actually, it worked out really well because she's studying for her board exam here in April, and Lent just started, and we don't usually do a lot for
Yep.
it, but
Yep.
this year we were like, "Hey, you know what? Like, we've been watching too much TV, and it actually lines up almost perfectly. Like, we're like, let's give up TV for Lent. Like, let's just do that." And that has actually been something that's been wildly crazy. It's only been about a week, right? But turning that off has led to a lot more quiet time.
Turning turning that off?
Yeah, turning like no Netflix, no
Mm.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like sedative content of just like we just want to turn our brains off, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
um but it's like there's a lot more time to think and reflect and be quiet um and I think it really does. It helps you hear yourself again, it helps you hear God again, it helps you hear like
100%.
you're not just always on. Like there are benefits to just turning stuff off every once in a while because this stuff
Existing.
can go so fast that like it can really get your mind in that loop, like where you were saying you're going to bed and you're like, "Oh, babe, I'll be right back," you know?
One more second. Yeah. The funny conversation I was having a couple days ago is, a lot of the times I find myself talking to this tool, right? I mean, like, hey, I had a really long day. Like, this didn't go right, but this went right. And what's weird is that sometimes it's almost in the same prose that I would say a prayer in. So then that begs to question, right? Are we stopping and looking for answers and guidance from God or from whoever your spiritual deity is? And now we're looking for it from a machine.
Yeah,
Isn't that fascinating?
yeah.
And then let's look at you and I are very intentional on our conversation around this. How many people are not? What does that do to organized religion? What does that do to this newfound, whether real or not, Christianity and Christian nationalism? Now that a machine is coming and giving you the answers,
Hmm.
right?
That that is a that is a great question.
Yeah, I don't have an answer, man, but it's just like it's worth something that's worth thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. I try to talk about that a little bit more just because I wanna do my part to, like, I have, like, there are, so there's actually a really cool, I don't talk about this enough on the show, but there is a really cool, app that I found. There's basically have you ever heard of the Business Bible?
No, no, but I'm gonna Google it.
So they basically have a version of the Bible now that has like all these business principles embedded in it. And it doesn't change it. It just kind of pulls those out and it says like, "Hey, this is how lending is supposed to be done. This is how investing works. This is how leadership is like modeled, right?" And it's pretty wild. And they have an app that corresponds with it
I
now.
see
And
it.
there's an AI chat and I can come into there and I can say, "Hey, what are some you know, what does the Bible have to say about worshiping false gods and things like that?" You know what I mean? Or like, I'm thinking about making a big business move. What would be some principles that I should keep in mind that would be time tested wisdom based on biblical principles, things like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's a really cool integration of AI with a faith-based kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's
And I think there's a
fascinating.
massive market for that stuff. Like even like that's just a Christianity version of it, but there could be so many others that could be like a mixture of those two things. I've always thought if somebody could invent like an Alexa. I don't wanna say it because 'cause it'll just turn on.
Yeah.
Um, that was like the voice of God, like, that you could just
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to. I was like, that would
Morgan
be s
Freeman?
What's that?
Have it be Morgan Freeman, right?
Yeah, like, or, yeah, like, somebody with the sultry voice of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like, "Oh, this is from Bruce Almighty," or whatever.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, there might be a market for that kind of stuff, but that's a very interesting conversation.
I
Um
mean, wow, you've got me onto this website right now. This is very fascinating. And you could buy these and brand these apparently for your company. There's a Chick-fil-A has bought
Yeah,
them and branded them.
you can. Yeah.
Interesting. I wanna see how that plays out. I wanna see what religious institutions actually get behind it and support it. There's a lot of talk about running your business the way Jesus would or the way God would. And there's a big difference, in my opinion, from actually living those values at the core of your company and who you are as a person than just reading them on paper. And I don't know, man. At the core of business is capitalism, and we are a capitalist country,
Mhm.
right? We want as much money as possible. So where does this come into play? Where does the Bible fit into capitalism? Like we're getting down a really deep rabbit hole right now that may involve some gummies and maybe like a shaman circle and figure out the meaning of AI in life.
All right. Well, that's not what this show's about. So we
Okay,
can we
that's
can
other
leave
show.
that for another time, maybe. Tech bites after dark or something like that. But all right, I want to get your thoughts on this too. So, um, what would you say is like? We mentioned that 2028 report. Um, what what are some things that people might not be thinking about, especially like entrepreneurs, like people kind of in our space, like what's something that they're not thinking about where AI is gonna fundamentally change things? that we should probably be paying attention to?
Hmm. Well, number one, the things like having a therapist. Not that I think you should have one, but we will all have AI companions that know us inside and out. That's not just connected on a large language model, but it connects to my Aura ring. It connects to everything I do in the gym. It knows me. It knows my glucose. It knows what I eat. It knows what I buy. It knows where I go on Amazon, what websites I visit. It's going to be so much better than having a therapist who just knows the episodic things that you tell them. Now, does that mean you don't have a therapist? No. It means that whoever develops that app that puts everything together now has a moat that they just provide that to therapists, right? You built software, you could just code that on top of a large language model.
We do have a client app we're working on for something similar to that. I won't, I'm under
Very
NDA
cool, dude.
so, but there is something like that that we've been working on. Yeah.
It's very, very cool. The people, like, here's what I talk about all the time is that you have an idea. Guess what? You're one conversation from bringing it to life. And if you don't think it can come to life, you ask one of these LLMs and they'll show you how to bring it to life. Dude, a true story. I sat in the back of an Uber I was going from the Hilton in Midtown to a steakhouse at 55th and Park a couple weeks ago. And I was looking at these CRMs, and I'm like, these things suck. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we just had one that was just an image? It said, call Lisa, push button, call. Here are 3 things you have in common. Here's one thing. Did the call work? No. Cool. Push this button. Here's the voicemail you should leave. And then swipe to the next one. So I sat in the back of an Uber and I vibe coded it. And within, I think, 17, 18 minutes, I had a fully functional app. Now, mind you, if this went to market, I would need an app developer or at least someone to do some audit risk and debugging and to connect pipes. But it was about 98% functional out of the box.
Crazy.
What does that do for the disruption, right? These SaaS providers, we had the SaaS apocalypse a couple weeks ago. SaaS providers now, you have to worry about this because there will be a company who can compete now on a much cheaper price where your margins just got slashed in half. You have no choice but then to compete with them on price. And so then it becomes a race to the bottom. What does that do to the workforce? What does that do to the offerings? What's really interesting, if you read this article, is it talks about these big SaaS companies not coming up for renewal just yet. And over the time that those contracts have not come up for renewal, agentic AI gets smarter and it gets more embedded into the workforce. It starts disrupting white collar work. It starts disrupting people can build whatever they want. We build in-house versus HubSpot renewing the contract. Because I build in-house, the cost is 98% or 50% lower, whatever.
Yeah.
So what does that do for HubSpot now? HubSpot now has to reduce, cut into margins, lay off workforce. What happens to the displaced workers? Like, it's a really fascinating thing that I believe we're actually very close to happening and people aren't realizing it.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue both ways for that. You could say, well, that's actually a good thing that maybe some of these bloated things that have just taken themselves for granted that everyone's just always going to have this MRR of whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that forces them to compete. That forces them to cut back. It forces you to cut bloat. So that in some ways could be a good thing. But like you said, a chain reaction of all that could be pretty bad also. So like there's so many. That's one thing I find fascinating about this whole world now is like there are so many pros and cons that they're really, are they black and white? Like I don't think so. I think a lot of this stuff is gray matter at this
Yeah.
point. Like
Yeah.
it really is,
We don't know. We don't know, Dan. Like, this is brand new to everyone. I mean, the machine just told me, let me do your work for you. You kidding? Like, that's the Jetsons. We've never thought that this was really possible until now. I like it when Alexa tells me, hey, you're low on diapers. Oh, cool. I didn't even think about that. Thank you. You'll see. Once it happens, you'll be like, thank you, Miss Alexa. You just saved my life.
Yeah.
Now zoom that out. Your whole life is going to be that much easier. Now that have you seen Pickle OS?
No.
Dude, Google it. Pickle OS, they're building an LLM to function more like a human brain than an LLM. It connects to your text, your Slack, your emails, your photos, everything about you. So then it has glasses. You wear them with the heads up display. You and I could be talking. It reads your facial micro expressions, pulls up your LinkedIn, pulls up your Facebook, gives me things to talk about. And then it sees my heart rate's up and it goes, oh, well, I know that's because you probably ate some donuts and that made you a little hyper. Like, like that's where we're going.
Dude, that's creepy.
Creepy, but like kind of cool.
If you dive down that rabbit hole in like a nerdy way, yeah, that's super cool. But you dive down that with any other approach, that's terrifying.
I mean, you saw,
So
right, that our administration, our government is about to declare that Anthropic is it's something we reserve only for foreign adversaries. That Anthropic and Claude are a supply chain risk
yeah, I saw that.
because, to what I've read, because they won't just let Anthropic be used for what is it, like military actions and spying on American people. That underlines the exact problem with these technologies. You have governments that are going to say, hey, let us use it. We won't let you work with us, or anyone who works with you work with us unless you let us use this to spy on American people. Now, whether they tell you is happening or not, I fully believe it's happening. We're just never going to know about it. These are just the political theater things that keep us distracted. So we should just go off grid, Dan. You and I will go build a bunker in the middle of like Kentucky, right? And we'll offer, for anyone who's listening right now, comment the word Kentucky and we'll give you a bunker room. It'll be about 12 by 12, fully furnished for only $1.6 million.
There you go.
Done.
Probably one of the best CTAs I've ever had on this show. That's pretty awesome. I like that one. 1.6 million. That's awesome. All right. Well, we could dive down the rabbit hole in so many different ways, but this has been really fun. This has been really fun, the conversation. So yeah, go ahead. Where can we go if we want to learn more about you? We want to, kind of dive down the Drew Thompson rabbit hole. Where can we go, man?
Cool, man. So I have a school community called Human Powered. It's just school, look up Human Powered. It's the only one there. The idea here is that humans need to make the decision. And every week we go through not only how to use one of these tools slowly and step by step, but how you can start to think about reinventing yourself, how you can AI proof your career or your life. We all have so many different skills, and having an AI be able to say, hey, have you thought about using your skills like this is pretty incredible. You can always find me on any of the social channels at the Drew Thompson. I always answer all of my messages, and that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Sounds good, man. Awesome. I'm gonna check that out. That sounds really, really cool. So, all right. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. This was really fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Would love to, Dan. Hey, thanks for having me on.
All right. All right, guys. That was Drew Thompson. Appreciate all of you joining. And as always, please like and subscribe to the show. Share this episode with anyone you think might find value out of it. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dapanacode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you. Subscribe now. Explore Dapa No Code and let